We are going to start with Dr. Jonas Jansson.
No,
Jonas Jansson is the head of the Department
to change the
Traffic
slides,
and
it's
Road
only-
User at the Swedish National Road and Transport Research Institute. The department focuses on traffic safety, vehicle, technology and human factors, as well as sustainable mobility and active modes of transportation. Un fuerte aplauso para Jonas.
A big round of applause for Jonas Jansson.
Thank you, and good morning. Can you hear me? Yes, it works. Great. So, power. It's okay. Sorry, it's moving ahead. Power two-wheelers. I think we have already discussed yesterday. It's a very important part of moving to a sustainable transport system. But to be part of a sustainable solution, it has to be safe, of course. And already yesterday, we heard a lot of things that could make riding more safer. And I am going to tell you about an effort that I think was a great success. A lot of international experts coming together to discuss prioritized items, actions, to move ahead with making riding more safe. And I move directly to the results of this exercise. So we choose to call it priority actions for power two-wheelers. And I will just give you a very short overview of what we mean by this. We came up with 8 priority actions, and you already heard, I think, some speaker mentioning this work yesterday. So the first one is move to sustainable practice, and that is about organizations, companies, authorities, NGOs, taking more responsibility for their own operations and their value chains and how the safety footprint looks like in their operations. Supporting modal shift is, of course, to use transport, different transport modes more effectively and more wisely. That may, of course, mean, or that by necessity means that we may need to move away from cars, and that means we're going to have more power two-wheelers on the road. But it, of course, can also mean that we move away from power two-wheelers to having kids go to their school by public transports and so on. So it goes both ways. Adopting safe vehicles and equipment, of course, there is always the industry is pushing for better technology and safer vehicles, safer equipment, and this, of course, has to proceed. And there are a lot of well-known established solutions. I think we mentioned yesterday ABS, which is a priority technology, and always headlight on technology, for example. Educate safe riders is about having a solid licensing system and state-of-the-art education, of course. I think you heard the speakers also mentioning that we really discuss the issue that different levels and different regions are really on different levels in these areas, in several of these areas actually. So what works in one setting may not work in all settings, of course. That is an important point. Redesign infrastructure, moving away from a car-centric approach to accommodating the needs for vulnerable road users. That is crucial. Ensure safe speed is, of course, about speed compliance, but also setting the right speed for a particular facility. And finally, we have protect, or not finally, but the second last one is protect children. That has many implications and was a topic that we discussed quite a lot. It may make sense to provide public transport for children, for example, but in the cases where there are no options but to use power two-wheelers, we need to make sure that children have proper protective equipment and proper equipment to ride safely. Of course, it's also about making the vicinity of schools and areas where there are a lot of children extra safe, taking extra care of the infrastructure around those areas. The final one is the increase of knowledge. Power two-wheelers and the safety of power two-wheeler is an area where we need to do a lot more research. And I think we heard several speakers mentioning this yesterday. It's not certain that we can take results from one region and apply it to another, because there are particular settings. So we need to understand what measures works best in what settings. And that is the priority action that we came up with. And to give you the background, we did this workshop as an attempt to establish these items in the spirit of Vision Zero and to elaborate on the 9 recommendations of the academic experts group from the Stockholm Declaration. And there are actually several people in the room here today who did a tremendous work to get this workshop into place, and then they deserve all the credit. So it was a really large team effort and a lot of people involved in this. And the workshop itself was collecting 120 experts from all over the world. And it was 6 separate sessions focusing on different topics with a moderator and a rapporteur, and also my personnel from VTI who wrote the final report. They received the material that the moderator and the rapporteur collected and turned it into a report. So this was quite a knowledgeable group, I would say. And we tried to have these were really meant to be global recommendations, and I think we really succeeded. We tried to have experts from different fields representing different stakeholders, like industry, authorities, cities, research, and so on. And also, we could not, of course, cover all the countries in the world, but we at least tried to consider these regions here, and we had representatives from all these regions. And just to give you a flavor of the report, it's a long report and you can read quite a lot of the task that is considered important for each of these priority actions. But if you don't have the time to read the entire report, we tried to provide a sort of a one-page summary collecting the most valuable insights of each of the priority action. And just to give you a flavor of how it looks like, this is for the adopt safe vehicles and equipment. It talks about the fitment of ABS and CBS, always headlight on, but also the need to establish testing procedures and providing consumer with good knowledge about the safety performance of their personal protective equipment. Similarly, for the Protect Children, as I said, this is several different areas you need to look at, making infrastructure safe, maybe providing children with other means of transport, but also providing the right gear for children to ride safely. I think this will be the end of my talk. I think the great success in this is, it's nothing new. You heard about this countermeasure already. But what we managed to achieve was really a consensus. So what is in this report is something that basically everyone agreed on from different parts of the world, representing different stakeholders. And in that sense, I think it was a great success. And If you Google riding in a safe system, you will find the VTI report that you can download and have a look at if you want to go deeper into what the workshop really discussed. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
The next speaker is Jenny Carson. Jenny Carson is a project manager at the European Transport Safety Council, responsible for the PIN Road Safety Performance Index program. She joined the European Transport Safety Council in 2020 and has worked on European policy since 2000. She was previously at the East of England Regional Office in Brussels. She holds a BA in Modern Language and European Studies from the University of Bath, UK. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you very much. So first, a little bit about the PIN program, which I manage at ETSC. So it stands for the Road Safety Performance Index program. And it's a project in which we benchmark the road safety performance of 32 countries. So we have the 27 EU member states, and then also the UK, Norway, Switzerland, Israel, and the Republic of Serbia. And we really look at the state of road safety in all of those countries. We have one person in each of those countries that provides us with the data and the information on what's going on in their country. We have a steering group that looks at an overarching view of the project. And every year we publish 3 reports, so an annual report looking really at the state of road deaths and serious injuries, and 2 thematic reports on a different topic, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, a report we published last year particularly on power two-wheelers. We also hold a number of webinars, and we held a webinar also on power two-wheelers at the end of last year, and you can find that on our website. Along the bottom of the screen, you see the sponsors of the PIN program. We're very grateful to them for their support. And a small map to see the kind of benchmarking that we do using traffic light colors for progress in road safety. So this is the report. I have one copy with me of the document that I will talk about today. So firstly, the scale of the problem. What is the situation regarding motorcycle power two-wheeler safety in the 32 countries that we cover? So we found that over 45,000 power two-wheeler users have been killed on European roads in the last 10 years. And if we look at the graph, we can see the progress in reducing those deaths between 2011 and 2021. And we can see that overall, motorcycle deaths have been declining more slowly than moped deaths, but also all other road deaths. So motorcycle deaths decreased by 25%, power two-wheeler deaths, by 25%, and all other deaths by 33%. So there's a big difference there, and there's obviously a lot of work still to be done. Another way to look at the safety of the roads of a particular country is through road risk. So here we look at kilometers traveled, the distance traveled by a certain vehicle, road user. It's very difficult data to gather, so there's not a lot of countries that can provide it to us. But here we have the countries that were. And I think one of the most important messages from this graph is that we can see that the countries that have overall good road safety are also safest for power two-wheelers. And I'm thinking here particularly of Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Sweden. All have very good, very high road safety generally, and it works also for it passes it on to the power two-wheelers. Next, we look at the issue of age. Now, this graph also shows a gender aspect, which is very stark, obviously, and I'll talk more about that later. But I think here, what's important to look at is the reduction in the number of younger power two-wheeler users that have been killed. So we have the dotted line is 2011, and the thick line is 2021. And we can see a big reduction in the number of particularly 14 to 23-year-olds that are no longer killed in 2021. What's perhaps also interesting is the spike here in the number of midlifers who are now more being killed in 2021 than they were in 2011. And I think that's an important message for policymakers. We made some changes to the driving license directive, and we at ETSC believe that it could be presumed that that has had an impact. You can no longer drive a power two-wheeler without a test. The recommended age for driving the smaller vehicles was set at 16. So we presume that some of those changes in the driving license directive could have impacted this drop in particularly the younger drivers. I mentioned gender in the last slide as well. Motorcycling safety is a male problem. 9 out of 10 power two-wheeler users killed are men. And you can see here the different proportions across the 32 countries. It's true that men drive motorcycles, power two-wheelers, more than women. We do also have a graph for mopeds, where the proportions for females are slightly higher, but really there's very little difference. So that's the data, that's the information we have in terms of the data, but what can we do to address the issue? What can we do to try and improve power two-wheeler safety? And so in our report, we look at a number of different, what we call countermeasures, things that we can do. So I mentioned age already. The young rider age is a risk factor in power two-wheelers, and we need to make sure that we are setting the age of access to power two-wheelers appropriately. I mentioned before that the age in the driving license directive for the smaller vehicles, the recommended age is 16, and yet in our report, 18 of the PIN countries have a lower age for that. So it's something to think about. We have graduated access now as well through the driving license directive, which is welcome as well. But then we need to look at this issue of the midlifers. The skills, we need to improve the driver and rider skills. We need to make sure that they are trained in safety, in risk awareness. And we also need to obviously improve the skills of the car drivers to make sure that they are aware also of power two-wheelers. Infrastructure, the things that can be done on infrastructure. We have some nice examples in our report of work that they are doing in different countries, perhaps around safer guardrails that are power two-wheeler friendly, projects trying to guide riders safely around bends on tight rural roads. There's a lot of examples in our report. The safety of the machines. We know that there's a lot of work had been done on ABS. It's now compulsory on certain vehicles. But what about other vehicle technologies? We're seeing a big drive in vehicle technologies in cars, but could more be done on power two-wheelers? Technical inspections, we have some data in our report also about the level of tampering and how tampering machines impacts collisions, and a number of vehicles that had been tampered that were involved in fatal collisions. Could more be done if we had more technical inspections of power two-wheelers? Enforcement speed, as in all road safety, collision speed is a major factor also for power two-wheelers. We need to make sure that power two-wheelers are also that they can also be enforced. So we're thinking about things like if you have cameras from the front and a power two-wheeler is riding with a helmet, they can't be seen if they don't have license plates at the front. There are aspects there that we perhaps need to address. And lastly, protective equipment. We have data in our report also about the number of power two-wheeler users killed in PIN countries that weren't wearing a helmet. And it's definitely still an issue. We have some very high helmet wearing rates, it's true, but there are also areas where we could have, things could be improved. So that's a quick overview of my report. We include some recommendations also from ETSC. I just include a very few of them here, so making a practical test mandatory for the ACEM licenses, so mopeds, perhaps extending the technical testing, don't lower the minimum age for solo riding, ABS for all motorcycles, and perhaps develop guidelines for improving the infrastructure. And you can find the report on our website here. And as I mentioned, there's also a webinar we held at the end of last year, and the recording is there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. And our last speaker of this introduction of the safe system is Veneta Vassileva. Dr. Veneta Vassileva is responsible for coordinating the road safety activities of ACEM and its members. She also acts as ACEM representative in a multitude of European and international bodies and institutions. She coordinated the preparation of the industry safety strategy, the Safe Ride to the Future 2.0, launched in 2020. Thank you, Veneta.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be able to present the industry safety strategy. But before that, I would like to give a very brief introduction to our association. ACEM is the European Association of Motorcycle Manufacturers based in Brussels. And we represent the interest of our members at European level. Our members are the leading manufacturers of mopeds, motorcycles, tricycles, and quadricycles. And we all also have 18 national associations in different European countries, including Spain, where ANESDOR is extremely active, and we could see the result of this wonderful organization that they made together with DGT. Okay, so this is our brief introduction. So safety is top priority for the motorcycle industry, and we are currently implementing our strategy launched in 2020 and endorsed by the European Commission. The statistics shows that there was a serious improvement in rider safety in the last decade, but obviously there is a lot of room for improvements, and the industry is strongly committed to safety. But what is important also to underline that it is so complex issue that the industry alone could not make a big difference. So we really need the support of the policymakers, the decision makers, users organizations, and the whole civil society in order to make a real difference. So these are the slides that the Commission wanted to share yesterday because of some technical problems. Claire Debray was not able to show them. Actually, what it shows is that in more than 50% of accidents involving PTW riders, these accidents are due to the collisions with cars and trucks in some cases. And all in-depth accident studies shows that the main causation factor for these accidents actually is the fault of the driver, who normally does not see the oncoming motorcycle, or he misjudges the speed of the motorcycle, which provokes the accident with some serious consequences. Of course, we have almost half of the accidents involving riders who are single accidents, so there is also a lot of room for improvements and to make riding safer. So our industry safety strategy, of course, is based on the safe system approach. Because of the specific nature and dynamics of PTWs, as, for example, the exposed position of the rider, the safe riding is an extremely complex ecosystem. There are so many important factors that are playing a role in creating this favorable environment for safer riding. So therefore, we consider that it is extremely important that we all work together. Just a very simple example, for example, a poor road surface could be a contributing factor for accidents involving different road users, obviously. But when it comes to PTW safety, it could be extremely risky and hazardous factor, which could lead very easily to using the balance of the vehicle and then having an accident with more or less serious or less serious consequences for the rider. So therefore, we consider that the safe system approach, all the components actually of this system approach should be taking into consideration the specific needs of the riders. And a serious progress could be made only if this approach with all the components is implemented at European, national, and local level, and only if all stakeholders work together. Otherwise, we could not really make a big difference and take the good and positive trend on the way to Vision 2050. So our industry strategy has three main pillars. Of course, technologies are at the core of our strategy. This is the core business of our members. I will not go into details because we have a specific session on technologies later on and connectivity. We have a fantastic exhibition of all features available on the market today. I could only mention that manufacturers are offering and introducing to the market more and more vehicles with more and more advanced safety features. But I would rather concentrate on the promotion of high-quality training, which is also crucial for rider safety, and then on the cooperation with stakeholders at national level. So in terms of training, we have the European Motorcycle Training Quality Label, which is a voluntary certification scheme open to all bodies, providing safety-orientating training in Europe. So the programs are awarded only if they meet a very strict set of stringent criteria covering the content of the training, the actual implementation, the coaching methods, the qualification of the trainers, and their constant improvement and many other factors. And the evaluation of the training programs is done by independent experts from the German Road Safety Council. And in order to guarantee the high quality of the training program, normally the label is valid for 4 years. Annual monitoring visits are paid by those experts to ensure that the high quality training is maintained during this period. And then we know that nowadays the training provided in different European countries, I'm always talking about post-license voluntary advanced safety training, is very heterogeneous. So through this initiative, we really hope to promote the high-quality training in Europe, and we strive encouraging European riders to attend voluntary safety trainings on a regular basis, because safe and responsible behavior is a key to the rider safety. And even more, all label holders, they're ready and willing also to share their expertise and to provide help to countries with limited offers. Yes, you heard well, even though in Europe we are quite developed region, there are still some countries with very limited offer for safety training for riders. So the label holders are ready to help those countries to establish similar safety courses. And then the European Motorcycle Training Quality Label is an excellent example of how the joint efforts by the industry, NGOs, users' organization could work together and deliver efficient and well-tailored safety measures. Some of the programs received also an institutional recognition at national and local level. For example, in some countries, the local communities have decided to pay a bigger percentage of the training fee, and thus making even the training more attractive to the riders, because these courses are also quite expensive. In other countries, we have the insurance companies who are working with the training bodies providing these certified courses, and they provide a very serious discount to riders who are attending those certified training courses. So these are good examples of how the institutional recognition already received at the European level could go to national and also a local level. And last but not least, for the European Motorcycle Training Quality Label, now we are trying to go one step further to bring it to one step higher. So all 36 certified programs, together with the academia, are aiming to develop a so-called level system concept. The idea is to try to cluster the cognitive and riding skills in a groups of increasing abilities which riders need to be able to have these skills in order to address the most frequent accident scenarios involving riders. Yes, I am almost there. So country-specific approach, what does it mean? We know that PTWs, it's a wide range of vehicles, including mopeds, motorcycles, tricycles, quadricycles, which are used for different purposes in different countries, tailored to satisfy citizens' needs, going from urban, peri-urban, rural individual mobility, small logistics in the cities, then to recreational activities like sport, tourism, leisure. But at the same time, the realities are so different in Europe, so we could not compare the leisure use of motorcycle in Sweden, for example, for a couple of months, to the everyday mobility patterns in Spain. So obviously there are some specificities that should be taken into account. And in addition, as Jenny mentioned, there is a great discrepancy between the member states in terms of safety rider performance, which is quite interesting as well, because we offer the same vehicles all over Europe. So therefore, we decided to work with the biggest motorcycle countries, going there, meeting the most important stakeholders, of course, mainly the decision makers and policy makers, and trying to figure out what are the most specific safety challenges in these countries, and of course try to identify efficient countermeasures. So we have been organizing a series of events, workshops, and safety conferences like we did a couple of years ago in Barcelona, for example, and it proves that this is really an efficient approach to work with national authorities and to try to find the most appropriate safety countermeasures. So, just to finish, safe system approach is extremely important for rider safety. We would like to work with those stakeholders, and even if we have on the European roads all motorcycles, mopeds equipped with the most sophisticated advanced features, this would not make a big difference if all stakeholders do not work together, and if we do not implement the whole range of safe system components in all levels, European, national, regional, and local. So I invite you to read our strategy, to consult also the website of the quality label. And then, thank you very much, and let's work together to create favorable environments for the safe ride to the future. Thank you.